how do we, being a parent, and when your child hurts, you hurt.
You hurt, of course.
Okay. Um, and that's, you hurt mentally, you hurt physically, but what do you do to ensure that someone else doesn't fall into that situation? Because you know what happens with your child. How do we avoid this from happening again? What are we doing? And those questions were posed last time, and they had spoke about a few initiatives. So it's so good that Devon is here to join us to tell us. Since that point, I think it's been about six, maybe 4, 6, maybe 7,
Yep.
8 weeks
Yeah,
ago.
about
that much. But Devon, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Hey, Ted and Rich.
How are you, Devon? Good to see you. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back. So the question is, since the situation when you were with us before, what have you done? We see that you're in good spirits, and we're happy about that. Um, and as we've always said to you, we said to you last time, if you ever needed to use the station or use this show as a vehicle to push out whatever message that you have, um, hey, our airwaves are your airwaves. So tell us, what have you done since the last time we've spoken?
I created hashtag Race to Speak Up, my organization, which helps young people from different races speak up about their bullying and hate experiences. I want to educate and empower the youth about how bad not speaking up about your bullying and hate experiences, as well as the bullying itself. The bullying itself will get worse if you don't speak up. In my case, it led to me being paranoid. I really didn't even want to go to school. And when I was in school, I always thought that they were going to do something crazy, crazier to me.
Okay.
And I was anxious. I also suffered my first seizure, which led me to, I ended up in the hospital. And besides all of that could happen to you because of bullying. That could also lead you to being even a suicidal if it gets to that point, which no one should be. You shouldn't have to go through bullying and hate, which is why I want to help young people with that. Actually, also, if any of you out there know anyone who has been bullied, please contact me on my social medias. My Twitter is hashtag Race to Speak Up. My Instagram is Race to Speak Up. And so is my Facebook.
Okay, perfect.
That's great. So, how long ago did you set up your social media accounts? Have you had the opportunity to get feedback yet, or has anyone started subscribing to you and started some conversation?
I started my social media accounts a few months ago,
Okay.
and since then, some people have been contacting me, telling me about their bullying and hate experiences and what has happened in their experiences. The schools that would do nothing or try to cover it up, and I've been trying to do whatever I could, whatever I can do to help them, but it's still hard for them.
Of course.
Yes. And also my goals are to, of course, speak up at schools, and I want to implement a class into each school in the United States, or even more than just the United States, about bullying and hate. I want people to take a mandatory class about bullying and hate, where in the class, you could set up little skits to show the whole school about what bullying and hate can do, and also examples of bullying and hate, so you know what is actually going on and what you can do.
I want to jump in here, Devon, and say, first of all, you should be commended for not only the situation you had to go through, but the forward steps that you're taking and your family's taking, and the support that you're receiving from your mom and your dad. I would say Explanation number one: when you do give that class, most people don't even realize. Well, I would say most younger people might not even realize that if they might think like they're talking hot or cracking a joke on someone or something like that. That's bullying. That's cyberbullying right there in a nutshell. People don't realize because it was funny. I think this was about maybe 4 years ago. I worked with a youth group and we were discussing cyberbullying. And I've gone through this story before where I told everyone to pull out their cell phones. And most of the kids that were there, and they range from, I would say, about 8 to about 18, 18, 19. Okay. And most of the kids pulled out cell phones. I don't know if they were all working or not. Or, I don't know, but they actually had a cell phone in their hand. And I said to them, have you ever said anything mean online to any of your friends? And I said, no one's in trouble. You could raise your hand because it was a session I did just with the youth, and most of them, I would say 2/3 of them raised their hand saying, "Hey, I said something, but it was funny."
Right.
And I said, hey, it's funny to you.
Right.
And people, that's like the first step. So I think it's key in what you're doing is you're educating the youth in what to say, what not to say. Most of the times when someone says something disparaging, then yes, they understand that that's considered, cyberbullying. But if they think if they're being funny or if you've been at a situation where someone will say something and then you start to pile on,
Mm-hmm.
you're adding to that madness. We talked before about, those, like a zero tolerance bullying program. Um, I will tell you this much. I like the fact that you're starting to lay this groundwork. And this is something where I would tell you, take your time with it. Don't be discouraged. Keep pressing through. You will get speaking engagements. And it doesn't have to be a room of 500 people.
Right.
It could be 10 people.
Right.
And as long as you reach out, and as long as you can connect with at least one or two people, then you've made your mark. You've made your mark, and you take it from there, and you continue to speak out about it, because it's your story was powerful, but I like the fact that you've taken the additional steps. So you got to keep pressing on, and there's going to be a few hiccups. There's going to be a few bumps in the road. Don't let that stop you. Keep pressing on for Race to Speak Up. We definitely support you here.
Thank you.
Before we close this out, Rich, you have any questions or anything?
No, well, I would just add a little bit to something you just mentioned. That just because that bullying is really from the perspective of, let's say, the recipient, as you well know. When someone is sitting there saying, making a joke, and it's like Ted just said, "Oh, I didn't mean anything by it. I thought it was funny." I mean, while they're really hurting someone's feelings. This isn't just about now while you're young and in school. Um, Ted and I can tell you both, we have to, on an annual basis, recertify and re-sign documents for our employers that says, all right, we attended a mandatory anti-harassment training, sexual harassment training, that's just generic harassment trainings. These are all things which, in school you call it bullying. It's called harassment in real life, and you do suffer much more serious consequences. So this is, you're experiencing, and now you're teaching others, showing others what when you get older in real life, what the value of learning what is harassment, what's not, and how to appropriately interact with people. So keep on doing what you're doing there. I think it's very good that you decided to go public with it the way you have. You're turning it into a positive and trying to both assist others in dealing with it, and at the same time, you're teaching those who may have been the perpetrators of the harassment that what they're doing is actually wrong to make it more easy. Good job.
All right. Before we close out the segment, tell us best ways to get in contact with you on social media.
You could directly message me on my Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, which are my Instagram is Race to Speak Up, all lowercase. My Facebook is Race to Speak Up, with each word as capital case, and my Twitter is hashtag Race to Speak Up.
All right. Well, definitely, we want to let you know Late Night Parents does support Race to Speak Up, and we'll be in touch with you. I don't have to tell you to, don't be a stranger. You know where we are, and definitely we want to stay in touch with you and find out how your progress is going with this initiative. So, as I said before, you should be commended, and thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
All right. Having you again. Good to see you. And Mom, continue doing what you're doing too. We know you're behind there. You got this young man's back here. Keep doing that.
It's really important. I just want to say this. It's really important that you have a mom and you have a dad that are fully by your side and supportive of you. So there's going to be times, and I know I'm going to sound a little preachy because we both have kids. There's going to be times when mom and dad are going to tell you something and you don't want to listen to them. Oh, I want to do X, Y, and Z. Take a step back, take a deep breath. Think about times like this when mom and dad are supporting you for these different initiatives. And not just the good times. Also think about the times that were troublesome. That you said, you know what, mom, dad, I got to speak to you about X, Y, and Z. They are there for you. They're, like I said, they're going to be your biggest fans. They're going to be the ones with the pom poms and totally supportive. Just in person, financially, spiritually, all the above. So make sure you do everything that you need to do and listen to your parents. Okay? All right.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be